All right, it's time for another 5 minutes. And today, I'm very honored to welcome all the way from across the United States. He's the sports reporter from WDVM TV. Alex Flum is here. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
It's great to be on, Eric. I know it's far ways away, but making our continental U.S. connection here today. And I know we're going to be talking about the Washington football team here in the area. It's been an interesting season for them so far, struggling, but somehow still in the heat of a playoff race at the moment.
I've got some friends who are fans of the Washington football team, and they might think the outlook of the season's a little gloomy, but I think we might be able to prove a point here that may not just quite be the case. So we're going to go ahead and put 5 minutes on the clock and talk about the Washington football team. Here we go. Obviously, starting off the year 1-4 so far through 5 games. Got that big first win of the season in the first week with the comeback against Philadelphia. But Alex, if you look at their schedule coming up here over the next 6 weeks, it might not be so bad for them.
Yeah, next 6 weeks, I believe every single team they play in that span has a losing record. They have the Bengals in there, the Giants this week, the Cowboys a couple times who surprisingly people expected them to be a Super Bowl contender. And the Cowboys are really struggling, especially now with their starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, going down with an injury, Andy Dalton stepping in. So things could turn around. They have struggled. They won the first week against a beat-up Eagles team. Their pass rush looked elite in that week. Dwayne Haskins played well. A lot has changed since then. The defense has struggled. There's not a lot of playmakers on the offense. The quarterback situation is kind of crazy. A very quick summary of that. Dwayne Haskins started the year as a starter. He was their first-round pick last year. He had a very good first game. Played the next couple games, he struggled. Questions came up about him being the starter. They benched him for Kyle Allen, who started for Carolina and is familiar with the system that Ron Rivera and Scott Turner had last year in Carolina. So they put him as starter. He scored a touchdown last week against the Rams, got knocked out of the game. That led to Alex Smith coming in. His first game playing since breaking his leg almost 2 years ago. It was amazing to see him play. But the team has said that Kyle Allen is their guy right now if he's healthy. He's set to start this week against the Giants. Alex Smith, I believe, is the backup with Dwayne Haskins, who's had a mysterious illness and I think only just returned to practice today as the third string and possibly not even active. But the reason that they're going with Allen, like we were saying before, is because they want to win some games. They're only a game behind the Cowboys, who are in first place at 2-3. They're at 1-4. So, things aren't looking so bright, but there's an outside chance. It's possible. The NFC East this year might be one of the worst divisions we've ever seen in the NFL.
It seems like the last few years have just gone that way for the NFC East, which, when you find yourself in a situation like this, plays much to your advantage. Wild card spot might not look so great.
No, that's impossible.
Yeah, there's an extra one this year, but I don't think it's going to help. But getting to the top of that division, like we said here, over the next 6 weeks, they have the Giants twice, they have the Cowboys twice, and then the Lions and the Bengals mixed in there as well. You go on a run here. Next thing you know, say you win 4 of those. Now you're sitting there at 5-6. Things don't look so awful. But you're right. The quarterback play has got to pick up. Good news, no interceptions last week between Allen and Smith. Going forward, it's all going to be about ball protection. You talked about the pass rush in that first week. This is a team that got beat by double-digit points in each of their 4 losses so far this season. So if you can keep it close, usually a play or two there can flip in your direction. Maybe you come away with a win that you shouldn't get.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is when this team takes care of the ball, it's kind of like what we saw with Alex Smith 2 years ago. When they take care of the ball, and their defense holds strong, they can do well in games. You look back to the Browns game earlier this season, and, obviously back then people didn't think much of the Browns. I think they're 4-1 now. But back then, that game, the defense struggled. Dwayne Haskins had a number of interceptions, and that kind of is what started the conversation of concerns. But if you look at that game, if you take away those interceptions that really all led to points for the Browns, it would have been a very different story. So I think if Washington can take care of the ball on offense and their defense, stay strong because, the defense, when they're not playing with a short field, they can step up. I worry about the secondary. They have Landon Collins and Kendall Fuller back there. But outside of that, there's not a lot of proven guys. I know Jimmy Moreland is kind of a rising player in the league, but still very young, only in his second season out of James Madison. But that the secondary is a worry for that defense, but the front seven with star rookie Chase Young, Ryan Kerrigan, who can still play some meaningful football, Jonathan Allen. There's just a lot of guys up there that can wreak havoc, especially when they face a bad offensive line. So that's why these next few weeks are going to be really telling for this team, because if they pick up a loss next week and maybe the week after, people are going to start talking more and more about Trevor Lawrence for next year.
Oh, the old tank for Trevor. 5 seconds. Are they going to win the division this year?
I don't think so, but I'm not ruling it out. I think the Eagles are going to win the division. That's my prediction.
And that's how we do it here on 5 Minutes. Alex, thanks so much for joining us here today. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.